Good afternoon and welcome everyone to our webinar, COVID-19 Proofing Your Business, hosted by Coalmarch and PCO Bookkeepers. Welcome back to those who joined us last week and welcome to any newcomers. There are a lot of you out there. This is our third in this series to help pest control business owners navigate some of the challenges that the coronavirus has introduced into the pest industry. Today we're going to be talking about growth during the pandemic and some actionable strategies you can use to increase revenue despite it. I'm Marisa Palmieri and I'm your moderator. And I'd like to first introduce Donnie Shelton and Dan Gordon once again.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Donnie Shelton owns Triangle Pest Control and Coalmarch, is the CEO of Coalmarch. Coalmarch is the leading provider of digital marketing and sales efficiency solutions for the pest control and lawn care industries, and they've been helping service businesses get more leads, close more sales, and grow their businesses for over 10 years. Dan Gordon is CPA and Managing Director of PCO Bookkeepers. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the slides here. There we go. PCO Bookkeepers is an accounting and bookkeeping firm that has been offering financial management services to the pest control industry for 20 years. He and his team work with hundreds of the most successful and largest pest control businesses in the United States. And I will go ahead and hand things over to Donnie and Dan.
All righty. Well, hello, everyone. And Dan, I don't know about you, but I am super excited about a couple things. Number one is the topic, which is my favorite topic, which is growing your business. And then two, the speakers that we have. I think we've got some, I think folks who are on today are in for a real treat because I think our two speakers are doing some really unique things in the industry and both have found a way to continue to grow despite what's happening with COVID. And so I think it's going to be very useful for our audience. What do you think?
I think it's going to be terrific. They've both been clients of ours for several years and both very successful. And I'm pretty happy to be here. You know, there's a lot of hurt going on out there, but it just seems with our industry and the people that we're doing business with, we seem to be getting by and in many times excelling. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So we're going to make this a little different for this webinar today. We're going to try to make it a little bit more interactive and we're going to use technology. So what that means is that it's probably going to fail, but we're going to try this anyway. So the first thing we want to do is we actually want to make a poll. And so our first poll we want to ask is, how is your business doing? And if we do this properly, hopefully everyone will get a pop-up on their screen. Yep, here we go. And so you should see a quick poll, and the poll is simply, in 2020 year to date, my business it's either declining, flat, or it's growing. So if you could just take a moment, and I think this is going to be good in terms of setting the stage for the discussion. And Laura, who is running the poll, if you could just give that maybe just about 10 more seconds. I think most folks have already submitted on the poll, and we can provide some results there in a moment. Let me know once you have that done. And while we're waiting on that, I mean, this is going to be really interesting because I think depending on who you are, and then, you know, I think you can probably agree with this. If you're really big in commercial, I don't know that growth is really happening, or at least not a whole lot, but Hank has found a really great way to grow, even though he's mainly commercial. And I think if you're doing kind of residential, I think you're probably, for the most part, you know, you're probably doing all right. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see the results of the poll. So,
yeah, I mean, I think commercial, it depends on what aspect, you know, what industries you focus in on. So, but like I said, you know, it's almost eerie to hear, you know, to watch the news and see what's going on out there, and then to talk to our clients, residential, commercial, our lawn care businesses are doing just great. So it's really you know, you're waiting for this shoe to drop, but it hasn't dropped yet, and hopefully it won't. So
yeah. So I've got the numbers from the poll. You can see here, looks like the vast majority of folks are growing. We got a few that are flat. You know, and really looking at these numbers, it's actually I think it's a really good story. It just goes to show how resilient our industry is. I mean, when you look at a lot of industries that are, you know, 80, 90%, in some cases completely shut down off of their normal revenue. And so far this year, our industry seems to be, and again, this is our audience. And just so everyone knows, we got roughly about 350 people on the call so far. I'm sure that number will go up. But long story short, I think most folks are weathering the storm fairly well. So this is great. Well, good. All right.
A story, a lot of my clients and friends have heard this story, but in case you haven't, this is just a quick one. In 2008 and 2009, or 2007, 2008, when we went through the Great Recession, I was doing a talk for NPMA in New Mexico in 2009, and they were in a world of hurt. And, you know, we were finding the same thing back then, that people were doing okay in the industry. I mean, that you know, nobody was, you know, really blasting off, but we were holding our own. You know, General Motors was going out, the banks were going out, and I was doing a talk, and I was mentioning when I was on stage that you know, our client base is holding up very well. In fact, some people are growing. And this guy raises his hand and he says, "Mr. Gordon, I don't know where you're from, but here in New Mexico, we're in a world of hurt. Everything is horrible. People are getting their homes foreclosed on. The job market is horrible. Everybody's losing their jobs." And, you know, he kind of threw me off my game. And I said, I'm sorry. This is what I'm seeing with my clients. And a little while later, I'm sitting there ready for lunch, and he sits down next to me. He said, "Hey, Mr. Gordon, I really enjoyed your talk." And I said, "Really?" It kind of threw me off. He said, "Yeah, well, I had two technicians, one on either side of me, and there was no way I was going to let them know how well I was doing." So that was, you know, and I feel the same way about what's going on now. It's almost a little secret that, you know, there's so many people in a world of hurt that you almost don't want to talk about your business and jinx it, or, you know, make people feel bad that, you know, things are going so well. But so with that, I think I'm going to introduce Hank Hirsch. I've known him since mid 1990s. Just a terrific guy. Started his business in the early, I think, 2001. Actually, Hank was my first client. And so each week I used to go up to his place, and we used to close out the books, and you know, we would work on it and whatnot. And since that, he's grown his company to I guess over 100 employees, Hank, or close to it. And he has focused on the food processing industry for the most part. And as we said,
Oh, did we lose Dan there?
He froze up.
He froze up.
Can you hear me? Do you want me to just take over?
Yeah, well, so real quick, Hank, how long have you been with Dan? How many years?
So Dan and I used to work together at a regional sized pest management firm in New Jersey. I think the year was probably around 1996 when Dan hired me as their senior technical director. So my background was mostly technical, and we worked together there for a little bit over 2 years before I went on my own and started my business.
Well, I will tell you, I am super excited about having you here today, and I think you've done something really unique, and I think you have a lot of value to offer folks that are here on the webinar. And it's for those that don't know, Hank does a lot of commercial. In fact, I'm going to kind of let you talk a little bit about what you do, kind of how you built your business, and then kind of what you're doing and how you're responding. And I know you're going to talk more about disinfecting services, but I think that's probably a good place to start. So with that, Hank, I'll turn it over to you and let you take it from there.
Okay, well, thanks, Donnie. And I see Dan is back, and I really agreed, by the way, Dan, with everything that you said as far as the business is growing right now. And on one hand, you want to be really careful with the messaging that you deliver to people like your clients and especially your staff. You want your staff to know that the business is solid, that their employment is solidified with you. But at the same time, I mean, the country's in a world of hurt right now, and you don't want to make it seem like while that's going on that you're thriving on where other people are hurting. The other thing I really agree with what you said, Dan, is when you said that I'm a great guy. I agree with that. And thank you for that.
I just want to let everyone know I had some technical difficulties. I'm now tethered to my cell phone. Quick reaction, and Hank is a great guy, so here we are.
Thanks. So why don't I just give a little background about my two companies and what we do and how we started what we've coined our VPS service, our Virucidal Protection Services. So my one company and main company is RK Environmental Services. We're based in northern New Jersey, although we have operations in 27 states, mostly along the East Coast. And we work exclusively with the food industry and pharmaceutical industries. So we work with food manufacturers, food distributors, retail food chains, which are mostly grocery store chains, and some restaurants. And then I also do a lot of work with pharmaceutical companies. Our signature service is our IPM program combined with a food safety audit. So our service professionals are cross-trained to be food safety professionals as well. And it's really a nice little niche that we've developed with the food industry. In 2000, we've been in business since December 2000. In 2011, because we were doing a lot of food safety related work, we launched our separate business called Comprehensive Food Safety. And that business provides food safety consulting, auditing, and training for the same types of clientele: food processors, distributors, retail food chains, and pharmaceutical facilities. And although I run the two companies independent of one another, there's a lot of synergies between the two companies that have helped us grow over the years. And quite frankly, it's been a great ride for me for almost 20 years now. So, and I don't want to stroke his ego too much, but Dan's played a big role in our company's growth and has provided great services.
Years. That's pretty good enough.
All right, I won't say anything else good about him.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh, we're missing.
With all the services that we offer,
I think we can all agree that everybody on the call has used our services to their advantage. But go ahead. Thank you.
So for our solid growth over the years, I have to tell you that, you know, sometime in probably mid to March, and I think a lot of people on this call can probably relate to this, we began to see the escalation on the news with regards to, you know, the coronavirus, which then got coined COVID-19. And it started to escalate really quickly the second week of March for us. You know, most of the work we do, like I said, is in the food industry. I will share with you, though, that I have a couple of clients, a handful of clients that are premium hotels in Washington, D.C. and in Boston. And the hotel industry probably got hit first. So we had those clients coming to us, reducing their service frequency from daily to twice a week. And, you know, all of a sudden we started to just read the tea leaves here and realize that we're going to take a little bit of a hit because of what's going on here. And none of us knew at that point how rapidly things were going to unravel and how much it was going to really impact the entire country and the economy the way that it has so far. So one of the services that we offer also through our food safety consulting business is we do grocery store audits. And I remember it happening vividly. It was March 13th. It was a Friday morning, and my consultants, 3 of them, all left work that day and said, we're not working in the grocery stores right now. It's pandemonium in the grocery stores. The grocery stores were just packed with people. People didn't know what was going on. They were buying as much toilet paper and other products as they could. And my consultants were really scared for themselves. Within the next couple days, the grocery store chains that we worked with told us, don't come for the rest of the month of March. We don't know what's happening. We'll reevaluate in April. And I started to get really concerned about just the loss of revenue that was happening right at that moment. And, you know, I said to myself, what can we do differently to generate revenue, to support our clients right now, and to make sure things don't unravel for us? You know, I've always felt like I have a really solid business. And, you know, when you have 100 employees, you know that even if there's bad times, the business will probably survive. But this thing was just so, there was just an unknown element with COVID-19. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if the government was going to shut us down. So in just thinking what we could do, how could we support our clients, I figured that, you know what, maybe we can offer some sort of application for a material that would be effective at, you know, knocking out COVID-19. And I started to do my research. I knew that we had a lot of equipment, fogging equipment that we could use. And that's what I thought we would offer, is that my food plants that I work with already have materials and staff and equipment that they use for applying material to sanitize their processing lines, etc. And I didn't know if they would have much of an interest in anything else that we could do. But I figured if we could come in with our fogging machine, then we could do something that they can't do because they don't have that equipment. So I researched, and we decided that we were going to use a material that, by the way, is available to the entire pest management industry because it's made by NISIS, and NISIS manufactures pesticides. So we found DSV. It's DSV stands for disinfectant, sanitizer, VIRUCIDE. I said this is a perfect material. Read the label, learned how to use it, spoke to my manufacturer rep, and put together, within 2 days, our team put together a marketing program and started offering this to our clients. Within minutes of our email blast, we started getting phone calls from clients that wanted to learn more about the service. That email blast went out sometime in the mid-afternoon. By the end of that day, we had 2 or 3 clients that had already signed up. Within the next day, more, and here we are 3 weeks later, and I have about 180 different locations that we service now on a set frequency for our VPS program. So to take a step back, the very first job that we did, we went in with our fogging equipment, and then we quickly learned that this material doesn't disperse well out of foggers. It's not like a pyrethrin-based material that fogs easily. So we wound up just doing a little bit more work, and we learned by doing that using backpack sprayers in sensitive areas, we would do a spray and wipe. This particular material cannot be used on food, so there's precautions that need to be taken at food facilities.
Hang on, Hank. I just want to stop you there. Let me just be clear. You, in a matter of a couple of days, is like, hey, we're big on commercial. This is all changing. And in 2 days, put together a marketing plan and figured out this disinfectant and said, okay, we're gonna pivot here. That's pretty impressive. That's really impressive.
Thanks for saying that, Donnie. And I think we're really proud of it for a lot of reasons, by the way. Number one, we feel like it's just business continuity for our company, because right now, our account executives can't get sales calls, right? Another thing that we saw real quickly were every single one of our clients was sending us these visitor policies, and their visitor policies were for any vendor that they work with, saying you can't come to our facility. Fortunately, we were able to talk to most of those clients and say, well, we're an essential part of your food safety program. We should still come. And in most cases, we were able to continue with our IPM program. Some clients just dug their heels in and said, no, you're not coming right now. I'll say for our pest management business, we're down 2 routes in lost business. because clients just don't want us there, or there's a reduced frequency. Some of those clients service the airline industry or hotel industry or schools, and they just don't have business right now for themselves. Others just were really strict with their visitor policy and said, listen, we understand that you say you're essential, but we're just don't want anybody in our facility right now. So
real quick,
we have taken a big,
if you had to say, like, because I think there's probably a lot of folks on the call who are doing commercial and are probably seeing the same thing that you see, where they're probably down a route or two of folks saying, look, we don't have people here. We don't really need you in pest control. When you offered the disinfecting services, was there a particular like commercial client that was more interested in this service than others? I mean, I got to believe like churches and schools where there's no one there, they're like, nice, but we don't really need it right now. There's no one here. Were there specific niches that said they jumped on it immediately?
So Donnie, I work with the food industry, so I don't really work with churches or schools, but I will say this: the grocery stores immediately were very interested and make up probably about half of the different clients that we're providing the service to right now. And then the other half are food processors or distributors. So I can't speak to churches or schools or even clients that, or Dan's clients that or do residential work, but I will say this: I can imagine that everybody out there would be interested in this type of service. I can. You know, we had a situation, our office is virtually closed at this point, other than, hold on, I got a dog. Other than
live TV.
He's gonna bark. So somebody's walking their dog outside and he's looking through the window. But I can say this: in my office, which is almost closed, we had one of our consultants show up one day who worked with another one of our consultants who did test positive for COVID. And the people in my office got very emotional over it. Totally understand that. So we started servicing our office. I don't think there's a business out there or even homeowners who wouldn't be interested in this type of service right now. I believe that. Another thing we're doing is we're offering it on a set frequency. So the material that we use, which again is called DSV, I think I have a slide of it, Marissa, if you could flip to the next slide of what DSV is. Is it on the next one, I think? Or maybe it's the one, it was 2 slides ago. You went past it, I think.
Okay, heading back.
Sure. Yeah, one more. No? Just looking in the order that I sent it to you. Go ahead, go down, please. Sorry.
It's okay.
Mindful of everybody's time.
I think this is the only one that
ISSDS,
mentions
yeah,
DSV.
application.
Oh, okay. Maybe Laura didn't put all the slides in that I sent her, which is fine. So it has right there, NICES DSV. You can find it on the NICES website. So, but one of the things we decided to do, by the way, because DSV has no residual to it, is we have all these clients on a set frequency. Most of them are weekly. Some of them are even daily. Some of them are, twice a month, monthly. We have people who will do one-times. But we find that the reason that these facilities are doing these applications is clearly to protect their staff. But in addition to that, they want to build confidence in their staff to show up for work every single day and have confidence in management that they're taking actions to protect all the employees. So in that regard, it's been good for us. And, we're really hopeful that this is going to be something that we're actually going to be able to maintain as an ongoing line of business, past this crisis, because there's a lot of benefits to doing these applications besides combating COVID-19. This material.
So Hank, how difficult is it to cross-train or get your technicians to, pivot and do this stuff, or did you hire a separate staff to do it?
No, so we took some of our consulting staff and transitioned them over to doing this right now, because the consulting side of our business was pretty flat when this happened. So we actually have 4 full-time RK Environmental staff or comprehensive food safety staff that came over to the other company that are doing these applications. And then we've hired 8 temps who we've trained and are working for us full time right now. And maybe some of those temps will become permanent, but we didn't plan on them being permanent when we first started this, but we needed additional labor. So we had hired temps to come to work for us who are right now. And that headcount continues to grow right now because we just keep bringing on more and more of that business every single day. At this point, the amount of VPS services that we do is almost the same amount of IPM revenue that I generate on a monthly basis.
Wow. Wow. Hank, I have a couple more questions, and I think you maybe get into this a little bit later, but you know, if someone's interested in doing this, of course, there's reading the label from NISIS DFV. Who taught you guys how to do this service? Like, you know, you said, okay, we started out with foggers. I'm assuming you transitioned to what? And then who kind of like said, okay, here's how you go in and disinfect the building, and here's how you know you did a good job, right? Like, walk me through that.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, we spent some time with the people at NISIS. We spent time with our rep. We spent time with Greg Bauman, who is their technical expert. And we did some I don't want to say hands-on training with him, but he really walked us through the process and the most effective way to use the material, do's, do nots. And we had a lot of questions for him. After that, it was really on the job experience that we learned and started sharing internally with our staff. We shot videos that we shared with each other, quickly wrote service protocols with regards to, you know, protecting our employees also, right? Our employees are going into all these places, so we wanted them to be really strict with their process for their PPE, so that they were protected not only from the material that they're using, which requires PPE, but also COVID-19 and how to gown, how to degown, and how to really protect themselves out there. So it was really on the job training and experience and some good internal communication that has made us really efficient at doing this right now.
Great, great. And then how receptive have your technicians been? Like, are they like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go out there and do this? Are they really scared about?
Yeah. So I think most of them have been really appreciative that they have jobs right now because they see what's going on. You know, 17 million people unemployed in 3 weeks. So I think most of them are really appreciative. They understand that they've got a responsibility as well. Their responsibility to support the food industry, help protect our clients' brands and their products and their staff. So most of them, I think, go to work every day wearing a badge of honor, whether they're doing IPM work or whether they're doing these VPS applications. They take a lot of pride in what they're doing, you know, which, by the way, just makes me beam with pride that they're my staff. A couple of them have approached us and, you know, inquired about hazard pay, or, you know, got really upset at clients more than us when they found out the clients had a positive for COVID with one of their staff members and didn't let us know. So it's been a challenge at times, but for the most part, things are going really smoothly. After the first week and a half of VPS, the last week and a half, it's just all process driven right now for us and is going really smoothly, adding several clients every single day. And it's been a saving grace for us, quite frankly.
Very nice, very
I think,
nice.
You had mentioned hazard pay. That's one of those terms that I probably, even though that's what it is, I probably would refrain from creating a payroll code called hazard pay. You know,
we don't call it hazard pay. What we did is this: the people who are full time for us doing these applications, they were our consultants who we transitioned over to do these right now. So they were on salary. We're maintaining their salaries as it was, and they're getting paid handsomely to do this kind of work. It's just different for them than doing the consulting work, and they're not complaining about it. They're really a great group of people. The temps that we have working for us, you know, we're not doing anything special for them, but for our service professionals who, in addition to doing IPM work, are helping out with VPS services after hours on weekends, and they want that extra work, you know, to support themselves and their families. You know, we're paying generously. We're paying time and a half for any VPS work that they do, even if they haven't hit 40 hours. So we don't call it hazard pay. We just call it VPS incentive pay.
Now, Hank, we've been getting a ton of questions from the audience about insurance. So can you just kind of talk through that a bit?
Yeah, so you know, this is a material that's available through our pesticide distributor. We did check with our broker about any concerns that we have with this. We were told no issues at all. So it hasn't been an issue. I could say right now with our clients, they love the service that we're doing. I haven't gotten any complaints from any clients about anything. They understand what their responsibilities are. So with DSV, by the way, you can't treat open food. You can't treat food directly. If you're going to treat a food contact surface, the requirement on the food facility is a wash down rinse afterwards, just with water. And we haven't had any issues. Our staff know how to apply the material near food, where it just becomes a spray and wipe with a clean cloth, and there's really no risk to product at that point.
So Donnie, to your point, we do know most insurance companies do require a separate policy for this. So, you know, we've been able to work that out. But before you put a program in place like this, highly recommend that you contact your insurance broker and make sure that you're covered. Or, you know, and there are lots of policies, separate policies that you can write on top of that. So.
Little known fact, you guys know Greg Bauman actually lives, well, he used to live here in Raleigh, but great guy, really good guy. So, okay, good.
Yeah. I guess it's just kind of an overview of what we're doing. We're continuing to bring on new clients every single day. Right now, I'm really focusing on the messaging with our account executives and figuring out how we're going to message with the clients who have already subscribed to this service with us, so that we can continue to maintain it as an ongoing line of business for us. Other than that, we take a lot of pride in being able to offer this to our clients. We feel like it's a win-win for us. Clients are getting a lot of benefit out of it. We feel good that we're able to offer it, and that we're really doing our part right now, you know, driving the economy, protecting our clients' products, brand, their staff, helping to keep our employees working. So really only good things have come out of this so far for us.
I think one of the fun things about working with Hank during this whole thing is it's like a running joke back and forth. When he closes more business, I get a text, and annualized, you know, we're talking millions of dollars. I mean, Hank, do you think that this translates? You talked before about other businesses, but residential homes, would you, I don't know, do you think it's something that can translate into some of our residential specialists providing the same service?
I do. I believe if you frame it out the right way, you know, everybody lives in a home, right? So everybody's concerned about COVID-19, you know, and I think you have to handle it in a very tactful way, so it doesn't make it seem as though you're being an opportunist in any way, but that those clients that you already have, who you're providing residential services to, should absolutely be interested in you. You're already protecting their home with other methods, and now you're going to be able to enhance that by helping protect their homes from COVID-19 and give them a sense of comfort that, you know, they don't have the virus in their house on any of their hard surfaces that are regularly touched. So I can imagine there would be a lot of interest from homeowners as an aggregate.
You want to hear something
also,
funny? I was going to say, it's funny, you know, there are commercials now where dealerships are saying free disinfecting car, you know, like they are so desperate for folks to bring cars in to get them serviced. They're saying free disinfecting services if you come in, you know, like they're going to disinfect the car. So it's interesting.
so Hank, on the pricing side, so as I understand it, the product isn't all that much, just like, you know, pesticide. So are you pricing it the same methods that you price pest control, like an hourly rate? Is that kind of the way that you're doing it?
No, because for us, we didn't have a good sense of, you know, the amount of hard surfaces that are commonly touched and the amount of time that we were going to have to spend at each location. So for us, it's a good question. But for us, when we really started to think about how we're going to price these jobs, it became, we just didn't have a good sense of the best way to do it. So we figured, you know what, we're going to base it on square footage. We're going to put together a square footage matrix. We'll break it down by the square foot for, you know, routine for daytime services. We'll have a separate price for after hour services. We'll have a separate price for our retail clients because those are a little bit more labor intensive. You're, you know, spraying and wiping cash registers. You got to be really careful around produce and other areas where there's exposed product. So those are a little bit more labor involved in the retail side. And then when we have a client that has a positive that they've shared with us, we always ask, then we present a whole separate investment and we expand the amount of application that we do to include walls and floors and other areas. So it becomes a little bit more labor intensive for that again. And the whole thing for us right now is based on square footage.
So the price is the same for the same client each time. You're not varying the price once you come up with it.
Unless they switch to after hours or weekends, or if they share with us that they've had a positive and then the service process changes a little bit.
Gotcha.
Great. All right.
Excellent.
Anything else? I think anything else Hank, you can think of?
Yeah. Recommend? Yeah.
I mean, that's my overview. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer them and do my part to help support our industry. I think it's great. There's a lot of pest management firms out there that are already doing this sort of thing, and you know, now is a great time to be able to offer this service.
Excellent.
Great. All right. Well, Hank, I tell you, very impressive. I mean, just big picture, within a matter of a month that you've been able to pivot and offer this and have it up and running. I mean, this is just phenomenal. So I think for some of our folks out there on the call or on the webinar, if you have existing commercial relationships and this side of your business is down, I would highly recommend to at least investigate this, do some more research and see if it's a good fit for you. Hank, for you, all I can say is just great job. I mean, seriously, great job in making something, you know, not going down as a result of this, but coming back with something even better. So good job there. All right. So
lemonade,
let's go ahead and,
lemonade out of lemons. I think it's
that's right.
terrific. And,
exactly. So, you know, we started this webinar with, you know, how to grow your business. And the very first thing that we just covered is obviously one option is to add new service lines, right? In this case, Hank was kind of losing some business on one side and he decided to add a new service line, and it's worked out very well for him despite what's happening. And I love his message about watch your messaging, especially in this time, you know, because not everyone has the benefit that our industry does, and we certainly don't want to come across as opportunistic. But what a great story. I think the next thing, if you know, given the situation, you want to continue to grow your business, is to look at new strategies. And so I'm very excited about introducing our next speaker. His name is Trent Ragar. And Trent, if I said your last name wrong, you can just make fun of me. It's perfectly fine. It's all right.
But it's Trent Ragar, but
Ragar. So Trent, Trent owns a company out in Northwest Arkansas in Bentonville, home of Walmart. And before that, he actually owned the largest Scott's franchise, and he grew it. In a very short amount of time, did it with door to door. Of course, if you are familiar with the Scott's Lawn Service story, Scott spun that brand off, and then they had to buy all the Scott's franchises back. So Trent, I would guess you would say that he was forced to sell. So he sold, got into pest control after that, grew his lawn care company with door-to-door sales, got into pest control, started going door-to-door from there, and has just done a phenomenal job. Trent has been with us, meaning Coalmarch, since he started. And I can't tell you how successful and how much fun it's been watching him grow his business. And so with that, Trent, I'm going to turn it over to you and kind of just let you talk a little bit about where you started with door-to-door and kind of this pivot that you made and kind of how it's working out for you now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Donnie. So yeah, we are in our 4th year right now. So we actually started, 2017 was our first year of pest control. It was the fall of 2016 that we actually sold our lawn care company. But the really cool thing about that whole process, if there is a cool thing, was we knew it was coming, right? So we had about 8 months to prepare for that sale to TruGreen. So we immediately started looking at what is our next option. We weren't way too young to retire. So we're like, we want to go into pest control. It's a very similar industry to lawn care, but I had no idea how to kill bugs. I'm not sure I could have picked out a termite off of a flip chart if you wanted me to. So we were fortunate enough to find a former Terminex service manager, had a ton of experience, snatched him up while we were still a lawn care company. We were doing just a tiny bit of pest control at the time, the very, very basic perimeter pest control. And we immediately began planning. We put our website up in 2016, started working with Coalmarch, because we knew this was going to be an uphill battle. I mean, we're looking at a brand new industry, brand new logo, brand name. Nobody had ever heard of us. So we knew this was going to be a climb. We took about 15 of our best employees with us to the new company, a company that had 0 revenue. Terrifying to go from, we were almost at 4 million in revenue to 0 overnight, literally. The day that I sold my business, people talk about, how exciting that must have been. It honestly was one of the saddest days of my life, because work so hard for something and you grow it. It's like your child, right? It's like sending your child off to live with a terrorist, basically, is what we did. So, but no, we got through that, and immediately got into pest control. Took 15 of our best people, but we had no customers. So what are we going to do with 15 of these people? Well, we knew how to knock doors. We knew how to sell door to door. We turned all of those 14 employees, or 15 employees, into door-to-door salesmen. Had 1 tech, 1 in the office, and everybody else was knocking on doors. So in the very beginning, in 2017, you can see the majority of our business came from door to door. We had very experienced sales guys. So we had a lot of luck with that. And then the rest of our business was coming from Google paid ads. We had no traction with our website at all. So anything that we were getting was something we were paying for. We were buying every lead that we could get. We actually were pretty successful that first year, especially on the door. So we wound up with almost 2,800 accounts. So that was super exciting. We have super high goals. We set from the very beginning, we had a goal of 3 million by our 5th year. With those numbers that first year, we thought, man, this is it. Like, we're on the way, sky's the limit, let's get it done. So then 2018 came along, and we had 3 other door-to-door companies move into our area that are way more experienced in pest control sales, very, very top-notch companies, and we struggled bad. I mean, very bad. You can see that in the numbers right there. We took a large hit. A lot of our guys left. A lot of our experienced guys left. Wasn't as exciting anymore when they were getting hammered on the doors. And so at that point, we're like, okay, we have to make a pivot here. We got to do something. We're not going to hit our goals. So year 1, 2017, with our website, honestly, it was pretty rough. I didn't really know what to expect, because I've never started a website and started from scratch like that. We actually all rid of our marketing firm, which was Coalmarch, because we were like, man, this was horrendous. We didn't really know what to expect, but I know it was bad. And, they kept telling us, hey, just wait, we've got to get some more time. We've got to get some, the longer you're here, the more we can build up. It's going to be okay. Just kind of holding our hand. So we started seeing a little bit more traction in 2018, and more and more. It was definitely a down year. We still had a pretty rough year in 2018. You can see our sales count is way down. So we were in panic mode at this point, right? Door to door, we just got hammered by other companies. We had a lot of our staff that were experienced leave. Google ads were working, but our cost per sale is still very high because we have zero organic traffic, basically. I mean, we did every home show, fair, goat roping, you name it, we were there with a booth, rodeos. But we still got very little brand awareness. Every person I talked to was like, I've never heard of you guys. Where'd you come from? So that, all of those things were really work. It was like climbing uphill for sure. It was a battle. And then 2019, we definitely turned a corner. We were able to land some commercial clients that really helped us. We landed a couple of really large commercial clients. We are mostly a residential pest control company. We do bed bugs, residential pest control, termite control, and some commercial. But we definitely saw a lot more traction with Google. In 2019, last July, Google Local Services launched in my market. We immediately signed on to that, and that made a huge difference. We saw an immediate change in our phone calls from July to August. It was kind of crazy, like flipping a switch. So that's, a lot of our growth happened late in the year last year, as you can see from that. So yeah, we've kind of come up with a plan. This year, 2020, it has been on fire. We are up 117% right now from where we were this time last year.
Wow.
It is out of control. We expected that to happen. We knew that was going to happen. I'm not going to lie, the whole, Corona got us a little nervous. We've implemented a lot of things to help us push through that. And a lot of it has to do with our staff. We're having weekly Zoom meetings with our staff. We're inviting their wives on those calls just to keep them calm. But we're as aggressive as ever. Nothing has changed for us. It's business as usual. Actually, we're more aggressive.
Hey, Trent, are you seeing any fall off from it or not really?
We had a few commercial properties want us to just not service them for a couple of months. That's really been the extent of it. We are very proactive with what PPE that we're using, like Donnie's talked about in previous sessions. We're over the top honest with people about, we need to stay outside unless you have a problem inside. If we have a problem inside, these are the protocols we're going to take, just so you know, and you know what to expect when we get there. But it's not been a problem at all. Absolutely zero. We're in our area. We're 500,000 people in our market. They've been hit hard as well. The service industry, restaurants. We're not immune to anything that anybody else has seen. We're getting hit just equally as hard. But on the bright side, people are home. We have a large corporate presence here with Walmart, JB Hunt, Tyson. They're all working from home. They're seeing bugs walk across their desk and walk across their carpet that they wouldn't see if they were at work 9-10 hours a day. So that's been a huge blessing for us as well. But yeah, I'll just do this real quick. The 5 things that we look back on that we did extremely well to get this going, and all these have to work together. And these are going to be super simple things that I go through, but I promise you're not doing all 5 of these things well, or your business would be blowing up as well. So branding, right from the very beginning, we looked like a national chain. We wanted to look the part. We installed monthly installment billing. So that is a brand new concept to our market. That took some sales, a little bit of salesmanship to get that going. But with our branding, we wanted to look like we knew what we were doing. We wanted to look like, even though we really didn't know what we were doing, but we wanted to look like.
Doesn't matter.
That's not true. That's not true. Keep going,
yeah, fake it till you make it, 100%. So yeah, the trucks, logo, the people, all of that was 100% on point. We actually provide car wash tags for an automatic car wash for every vehicle in our fleet. It cost me $12 per truck per month. Super high expectations. Don't let me catch you with a dirty truck because you have zero. I'm paying for you to get it washed. There's no excuse. So we have super high standards for that. as well. And you can see some of the branding that we've done right here as well. These are the new door hangers. We still do have a small door-to-door division. We have some super experienced guys that are being successful. We're down to one as of right now, and he is strictly door hanging. And that last piece was our new door hanger. So the second thing we did was we figured out real quick, nobody ever heard of us, and if they have heard of us and they Googled us, they didn't trust us, right? We had no reviews. We might have had 10 reviews, a couple bad ones because we didn't know what we were doing. So okay, we got to do something different here. I know my wife, when she goes on Amazon, if it doesn't have at least a 4.0 or higher, you've got no shot. It's not happening for you. So we immediately instituted a review program with Podium. It cost us $300 a month. It was the best money we've ever spent for sure. Reviews started pouring in. It's been huge for us. Right now we're over 500 5-star reviews. Our nearest competitor is in the review odds is Terminex. They've got about 110. We don't really count them.
Hey, Trent,
yeah.
Real quickly, in 2 minutes or less, how does Podium work?
So Podium is an application that every time we do a service, we send a link. It's a text that our technician sends to the customer's cell phone, and it's an immediate link to our review website. And it's got a nice message on there. If you liked our service, please take a few minutes and leave us a review. It really helps out the technician. They can go, and it's just super quick access to leave a Google or Facebook review for us, basically, making it super convenient for them. So yeah, that's worked extremely well. Like I said, we're up about 500 as of right now. We should be well past that. They haven't posted any in a few weeks. So yeah, all right. Number 3, people. We have built an absolute selling machine. All of our inside salespeople are very trained. We do have the one-step close where anybody that calls in, we don't pass them off to a salesperson. Everybody that answers the phone can sell, and they do sell. We also treat our people like absolute rock stars, super high expectations, but we also reward them very well. And we do a company-wide fishing retreat every fall. We take them to basically like a five-star resort on a river. Cost me less than $500 a person. They talk about it like you would not believe. It helps with recruiting. These guys work their tail off for me. They really do, and they know that I've got their back as well. We buy our guys, branded stuff, like something so simple. Like I see all these companies using this crappy Centos label stuff. Go buy your guy a $90 North Face jacket. You know how much pride that guy will have in that branded jacket that's got your logo on there? So we do stuff like that. And we have a mentality. It's literally like a 100 to 0 mentality. We want to score 100. We want everybody else to score 0. That's just the way our guys think. That's the way I think. There are winners and there are losers in our market, and we want to be a winner. It's simple as that. All right, number 4, customer service. Just be easy to do business with, like I just talked about. If somebody calls in, answer your phone. We need to answer the phone on the second ring and solve their problem for them. And that's what we do. There is no transferring calls. There is no, let me have my service manager call you back. Be super easy to work with. If they have a problem that we're not sure about, we solve it for them. If they give us a call and they're trying to call their lawn care company and they accidentally call us, I Google their lawn care company's number and give it to them. Do the super simple things like that. Don't tell them, don't ever tell a customer no. That's our big thing with customer service. Don't tell a customer no when it's super easy to say yes. Help people, we really do. All right, number 5, flexibility. So this shows our time frame for our marketing plan. As you can see, when I started lawn care in 2005, direct mail was the way. We got massive response. We were 2.5% response. We thought this was so easy. I thought, this is going to be a breeze to grow this lawn care company. 2008 hit. We had a $40,000 direct mail investment. That housing crash hit. We had crickets. Nothing. We got nothing. And no phone didn't ring. We had and we were so confident in what we were doing. As you can tell, we're all confident people. We had already bought trucks and trained people for the growth. we knew it was going to happen. Well, hell, it didn't happen. I can tell you that. That absolutely hammered us, that housing crash. So I started looking around, like, man, what can we do? How can I go get the business? Because it's not coming to me anymore. How can I go get it? Had an interaction with a guy from a competing company, a national chain that had done door-to-door sales. I had a little bit of experience in my previous life in door-to-door sales with an investment firm. I was like, man, I don't know if it's going to work, but we got to do something. So we got some door hangers made up, and we started knocking on doors, and it was a tremendous success for us. As you can see, it was actually our primary growth until 2016. It just worked. I mean, you're on the door for a lawn care company, say, hey, I can see your weeds, you can see your weeds, I can solve it, I'm here. I mean, it's a very visual process. So so when we started our pest company, we're thinking, well, okay, this is going to be easy too, right? We go out there, tell them they got bugs, they sign up, no big deal. Not quite so easy to do in pest control. It's possible, and we've had success, but 2017 hit, we had 3 experienced door-to-door companies invade our market. We're in a small market, 500,000 people, kind of thought we were insulated from them. These were highly trained, very sharp guys that came in and absolutely destroyed us. They really did put it to us. There's really no better way to say that. Our guys got intimidated everywhere we went. It feels like there's already been 3 guys from another company there. It just got in our heads. I went to sleep at night thinking about these other door-to-door companies. Couldn't get it out of my head. So we immediately knew something's got to give, and we started really working closely with Coalmarch and our marketing firm. That's going to have to be the way now. We're not giving up on door-to-door, but we got to find some other sources. So yeah, we started really hammering Google ads. We had a large budget for Google, and that cost per sale was high in the beginning. We had no organic, but every year that has improved and gotten a lot better. And then, like I talked about earlier, the Google local services last July kicked in. We threw money at that, and it paid off big time. And as of right now, I think around 46% of our calls, 47%, are coming immediately from Google local services. Guys, we are the only local company in my market on Google local services. It's us, and then 3 large national firms. That is sad that not another company has taken the time to do that. I mean, it's great for us, we love it. But we talk about, things that you can do. It's insane that people haven't taken the time to do the background check and get on that. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. This crisis, we're using it as a blessing. I mean, our mindset is this is happening for us, not to us. We absolutely had gotten comfortable last year, especially after Google local services had kicked in. But this definitely woke us up. A lot of things that I knew I should have been doing, I was not doing, like videos. We know for a fact that videos on your website, on your social media, just drives engagement, right? We know that. Why was I not doing that? That's my fault. So we also have positioned ourselves as a resource to the community. We changed our logo, not really our logo, we changed our motto, basically. We made it super, super simple. It's now, we kill bugs, we help people, period. We actually write all that out, super simple, because we want to be known as a company that will help you. We do offer free services if you can't afford it right now. I put that offer out there. We get three calls a week, maybe 3 to 4 calls a week. Somebody can't afford it. They've got roaches. Their health is affected. We just go take care of it for them. And they tell the cost of that service. I get that back times 10 in the word of mouth that they put out for us. And then we talked about doing Zoom calls as well to connect all the staff. I'm sponsoring a local blood drive next week. That's just a way for me to get another reason to put an awesome video that shows that we do care about our community. We're sponsoring a local blood drive because everybody else canceled them. Like all these corporate companies cancel all their blood drives because there's nobody working anymore. So just looking for ways to get out. We've kicked up our Facebook ads drastically, running next door ads for the first time ever. All these things we should have already been doing, we were not doing. We're going strong right now. And guys, people are buying. Please don't listen to the media. There is a million people out there that need pest control. The problem is you're not all talking to them. People are buying, but they're just not buying from you if you're not increasing your sales right now. And that's because you're probably not doing all these things that we just talked about, because I wasn't doing them all. But we really launched into that. We're just seeing that there's opportunity here, and it's a choice. It's not really a skill. We're making the choice, to make this happen, taking the emotion out of it. I mean, this is scary. We're nervous too, right? And people are dying. I fully understand all that. That's horrible, but I can't look at that. Something good will come out of this for a lot of pest control companies. This will have a positive result. We just have to find that good in the bad. That zero options mentality that we talked about. That's what we have. There's no other option, right? We either win or we die. Like, that's literally the mentality that we have with our staff. And they're so excited about what we're doing. They're working harder than they've ever worked. We've added 3 technicians this year and we're still slammed. But we are super innovative. You've got to be innovative. You just have to see the good. We're finding solutions. Like I said, next door ads. I've never run those before. We're starting to get some good feedback. We're doing a ton of stuff in the community on Facebook, getting a massive amount of engagement on Facebook through our ads.
Trent, I can tell you what you've done has just been nothing more than absolutely impressive. And I know that, a lot of folks on the call don't have they can't see from the outside in. I know I certainly haven't. I know Dan has as well. But just the fact that you've been able to pivot your business and, adapt. I think your last slide there where you talked about, just being flexible and understanding as things change, then you change as well and you stay in front of it. And I just can't thank you enough for coming on and talking about it, because I think this is a great story. And I think a lot of folks who may be looking for a new strategy or looking for a different way to grow their business, I think Natural State is a wonderful example of a company that, started with a plan, it didn't quite work, went back to the drawing board, and then was able to, take something that, hey, this is not working out so well, and then just make an explosive growth. So great job, Dan. Great job.
I think just real quickly, if somebody had told you that this whole COVID thing was going to happen and explained exactly the way it was going to go down, most people would say, if I could keep my business at even or maybe lose a little bit, I'm good. Let's just get through it. And both of these guys are just, killing it. I mean, in a good year, they're having a good year. And so I think that, and there's also a mindset to it, right? Like, I think that, both Trent and Hank, basically, when this thing happened, in their head, they said, this can't happen. We need to do something. And so it's all about, do you get paralyzed by this or do you get motivated by it?
Right.
Exactly.
You can be a victim or you can be bored,
All about the mindset for sure.
Yeah.
So thanks guys for joining.
Thank you guys. This has been wonderful. Well, I'm going to just do a couple of things here. We're obviously talking about growth, and the first thing we talked about was adding new strategies. The second was pivoting when circumstances change. And then the last thing, and I'm going to make this just a little bit, I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to try to make this quick as possible, but I just want to ask a question to the group, and you can just type it into the chat there. There's actually a study done of waiters, not today, obviously, because there's no waiters working right now, but when waiters were working, right, they did a study to try to figure out what were the components, the most critical components that got a waiter tipped. And so if you want to just take a moment and just throw some guesses into the chat box there, that would be wonderful, and keep them clean, please. But yeah, what do you think would be the most critical component? And this was an interesting study. And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and move forward because we have a little bit of time. So let's go to a slide. So when you look at what ended up really making the biggest difference for Laura, I think you hit play, and there you go. So it's interesting. Waiters who left a Mint, their average tip went up 3%, which, okay, so I leave a Mint, and if I'm getting a tip of, say, $1, now I get $1.03 on average. Waiters who left 2 mints got an average of 14%. And then the interesting thing is waiters who left a mint and then came back within 60 seconds and gave the patrons another mint, their tip was actually 23%. So let's go to the next slide. The key question here, and this was an interesting study, and I promise it has a ton to do with cancellations. I will bring it back, I promise. The key question here is what makes group 3 tip more? Because it's not like they got more mints than group 2, right? They were given 2 mints, group 3 was given 2 mints, yet, you know, the difference was essentially 9% increase in tip. So if you want to throw something into the chat box as to why you think, this other one was done, feel free to do that. But let's go to the next slide, please. If you've ever read this book, this research study was actually handled quite well. Robert Cialdini, this is one of my favorite books. It's called The Psychology of Persuasion. The book's name is Influence. He goes through this case study and he talks about this. And it turns out the reason that the waiters who returned with an additional mint got almost a 9% increase and a 20% increase over those who just left a mint, turns out to be this whole concept of surprise reciprocity, meaning that you do something totally unexpected, and so therefore I feel kind of obligated to do something for you. So let's go to the next slide. So if your goal is to grow your business, the key question is, what does surprise reciprocity have to do with growing your business? Dan, you care to take a guess on this one? Putting you on the spot.
You are. So,
well, I am not doing. I promise I am not.
I can tell you that when you asked to put in the chat, what is it that made the waiter get a tip? I put that they gave the customer a bill. So, yeah. And I haven't read the book, so quite honestly, I'm waiting for the answer. So, how do you keep a knucklehead in suspense? Here I am.
No. So if you want to grow, and I want to hammer this down for companies who typically run high attrition. This is so basic, and I promise it's going somewhere. If you really want to grow, especially the larger you get, I'm going to make this as simple as possible. Don't lose your customers, right? Some companies get into this pattern where they are growing so fast, they don't put as much effort into managing their cancellations as well as they could. Now, I don't put this number up here to beat our chest or say Triangle is great, right? You know, industry average 2%, maybe 1.5%. At Triangle, our cancel rate is 0.7%, and it turns out
that's on a monthly basis.
That's on a monthly basis, and as it turns out, everything that we have done, the way that we've gotten this number down, has everything to do with 2 minutes. Okay, I promise. So now let's go to the next slide.
Real quickly though, before you go into that, real quickly, think about it. When you were small, if you had cancellations, so you have 100 customers and you have 10 cancellations, that's 10%, or you have 20 cancellations, that's 20%. But I can always sell 50 or 75 new accounts. The problem is when you get big, those numbers, those cancellation numbers become so big that it becomes more and more difficult to outsell them.
Well, Dan, I tell you what, you just gave me the perfect segue. So as we were growing Triangle, this was many, many years ago.
Rehearsed.
Yeah, I wish. I would love to tell people it was. But anyway, so one of the things I realized early on is that, you know, we had to get a handle on cancellations because we simply couldn't outsell them anymore, you know, and Dan, you just made that point. Obviously, the larger you get, the more of a critical issue this is. And so we dug really deep into our cancel data, and here's what we found. Typical points that a customer cancels, usually at month 6, month 12, which you would expect, right? That's after they've been on the service for a year, and then month 18. And so the question we asked ourselves is like, how do we take this whole concept of surprise reciprocity and start pulling this cancel rate down? Now that we know that, I mean, and we went through literally years of cancels to pull these numbers out. And so I call this the TPC anti-cancel soup. Don't ask me why I call it that. I don't know. But we decided to implement this strategy where we were going to implement surprise reciprocity for our customers. And so what we started doing was at month 5, we would do a quality call, say, hey, just want to check, make sure everything's good to go. Hey, and also just want you to know how grateful we are to have you on our service. I tell you what, why don't you just take next month's bill, we're just going to go ahead and remove $5 for you. So what does that do, Dan, if I do this at month 5?
It increases your retention.
Yeah, it
incentivizes
them.
Yeah.
It incentivizes them to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to stay on through month 6 because now I've got a deal, right? And
I
then
love month 11. I love month 11.
Yeah, month 11. Well, this is somewhat of a sales tactic too, because we find the mosquito service is like crack. They take one hit and they get addicted, so we love it. So anyway, so they come in at month 11. We call them with the same call. Hey, just want to check in, make sure how everything's doing. By the way, we just want to thank you so much for being a customer. Next service, and we know at month 12 they're going to get a service. We're going to have the technician just go ahead and do a free mosquito for you. Just our way of showing you that we really appreciate you being a customer at Triangle. And of course, they're not going to cancel at month 12, because if they do, right, they're going to lose this free mosquito. And then of course we do month 17, and then from that on, they kind of rotate to this program about once a year. We're just kind of touching base. And what the data will show you in all cancels is if you can keep a customer past month 18, unless they move or they pass away, they are not going to cancel. And so this was kind of what we did, and it has been one of the key things, I believe, in terms of growing our business, is really having a solid strategy on how to manage our cancels. So let's go to our next slide. And so when you look at like what is the cheapest way to grow your business, I know this sounds simple and I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but it cannot be overstated. It is simply keep your customers, okay? All right, next slide. The other part is, I don't know if you saw this in the news, Dan, but Trump is putting together a second task force to get the economy opened back up, possibly in May. I don't know if it's going to happen. Who knows, right? But long story short, I don't want to speculate too much. I'm not going to say that we're at the top of this thing and that it's all downhill from here. But there are a lot of positive things that are happening, right? They're talking about they got antibodies. They're going to be testing that next week. Trump is really trying to get the economy opened up. And so the question you should be asking yourself, if this does open up, right, what should you be doing, right? So let's go to the next slide.
I think one of the things that a lot of people think that when Trump says, okay, we're going to be done by Easter, we're going to open it up, that we're going to flip on a switch. We're not flipping on a switch.
No.
And so things are going to change through that transition period. The question is, what are you going to do to adapt to that? Because there's no way that you can just flip the switch and pretend this never happened.
100%. So we're going to blow through these next slides, but I do want to just put a couple of actionables on here for the folks that are left. And this is about playing really good offense in terms of getting positioned now for when the economy does come back. And so let's go to the next slide. If you are commercial, right, now's the time to be thinking about possibly looking at a new service line. We had Hank. Hank, thank you again. Wonderful job talking about how he was able to pivot his business and really leverage this situation to continue to grow his business. The second thing I would say is don't try to sell your service, right? Try to sell your usefulness. Now, if I'm a pest control company, am I going to send out an email about the PPP program? Probably not. But there are some things that can be useful for your customers, and just keeping that base with them, keeping that relationship, even though they may not be using your service right now, you don't want to limit your amount of frequency that they hear from you and that they know you. And then the third one, which seems very, very simple, is terms. A lot of these businesses, especially on the commercial side, if they're not paying you, if they can't take service, stay with them and don't, make sure that you do not allow a cancel. That goes back to growing your business through managing cancels. Next slide. If you're in door-to-door, now's the time to beef up your digital presence, right? But keep your expectations realistic. I'd love to tell you that if you went digital, I could pull you into a neighborhood and every other house would be a customer and you'd be able to have that kind of density. It's not going to be realistic, and you probably won't get the volume that you would get on door-to-door, but you will get your customers way cheaper. The cost per sale, I think, is a fraction of what you would be spending if you had someone knocking the door.
Less than half. Less than half.
Yeah. And the other thing I would be doing right now, I would be thinking about in terms of playing good offense, is really branding the target areas that you're going to be knocking. Now, will you be knocking by May? I don't know. Will you be knocking by June? Probably. So, what you can do is get in front of that, because we all know if someone has seen a brand and then they see one of your salespeople, they're going to connect the two. And obviously it's going to add a lot more trust to the folks that are going on the door. And so it's a good way to help out your door-to-door teams, especially salvage what's left of the year. And then the third one would be, implement surprise reciprocity. I don't think there's a secret that door-to-door struggles with cancels. And so, I would definitely be looking at our cancel strategy at this point to play good offense and batten down the hatches. And then the last thing is, if you're already big on digital, let's go to the next slide. I would also consider expanding my services, and I would be investing in infrastructure right now to make you more efficient, right? Meaning that I'd be branding and I would be knowing what my cost per sale is. Go to the next slide, please. And I would be looking at building infrastructure that supports my sales funnel 100%. Now, I'm not going to go into this now. We're running behind, but certainly feel free to reach out to me. I can certainly talk you through this. But there is now technology stack that can completely automate your CPS for you, and you should know that. That's the difference between people who gamble and people who really know what they're doing. And if you've got the technology out there exists that you can put in closed loop marketing, the technology exists. And of course, at Coalmarch, we've got 2 platforms that manage both the top of the funnel and the bottom of the funnel to make it so that you know exactly what your cost per sale is, and then you can drive to that number with full confidence, knowing that you're not going to be, putting yourself upside down in terms of return on investment. So next slide. And with that, Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know we're running behind, but we'll just keep it rolling.
We're running behind. I'm going to do this in about 5 minutes or less, but I just want to talk about, the government programs, some of, how, things are working out. For those of you who are involved in the PPP, most people are still in the dark. We have a small fraction of our clients who are saying that they got their SBA number. So the way that the PPP works, as you know, you can borrow up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll, average monthly payroll. And if you keep people employed, and there's all kinds of hoops you have to jump through, but if you can keep people employed, you can ask for forgiveness for 4/5 of that or 8 weeks of that. And the way to do that is to apply to your local bank. If you haven't already done it, you're at the back of the line and it's going to be rough. But those who have already done it and aren't getting any information, most of our clients are not getting the information. I know that we deal with Chase. They sent us a little email. Thank you. We acknowledge that you got it, that we got it. We also deal with a couple of local banks who also gave us acknowledgement. But basically, the process is that bank looks at your application or your submission, says, okay, this is good, moves it on to the SBA. The SBA then says, okay, this is conforming, and we will assign it a number. And then it goes back to your bank. Once it goes back to your bank, then they contact you, get in touch with you, and establish a closing. Most of our clients, from what we're hearing, including us, because we're looking for it too as a business, have not gotten to that point of their SBA loan numbers. I think Trent said that he was notified early this morning. Trent is one of the, he's in the minority. But what, I've got good relationships with a lot of bankers, and I'm assured that the kind of the way we're talking about pivoting quick, the U.S. government pivoting to give out hundreds and hundreds of thousands of loans or approve them, it's a bit of a trick. And so I wouldn't expect your money. They said it was going to be 3 days. Listen, if you get it next week or the week after, I think you're pretty good. Most of our industry can make it that far because we're doing okay. And so we need to thank our blessings or thank our makers for that. The next item is this economic injury disaster loan, and you get a $10,000 advance on that. And if you apply for it, you apply right to the SBA. I haven't heard of anybody getting that yet. Basically, what happens is you apply for the loan. Given the information that you give them, they'll give you a loan amount, they'll give you an interest rate, they'll give you a payout term, and you can say yay or nay. But the first 10,000 comes to you free. And if you haven't done that, but you have done PPP, don't worry about it, because that $10,000 will be coming out of PPP. In other words, they figured out a certain amount of money that you're good for, and if you get that $10,000, that will be coming out of there. A few of the tax items that you may want to think about which is really terrific, is that obviously your filing April 15th is now gone. That's gone to July 15th, as well as your first coupon payment or your first estimated payment. As of yet, they haven't moved the second estimated payment out, which is due June 15th. So as it stands right now, your June 15th or your second payment is due before your first payment. For your employees and for other people on the call, if you're earning less than $75,000, you're going to get a $1,200 rebate, and it'll be against your 2020 taxes, but you'll get it right away, and then you'll settle up when you do your 2000 taxes. One of the things that a lot of folks are not publicizing, which is really a terrific one, is that if you can show that you're going to distribute from your retirement plan up to $100,000, there's no penalty for distributing out of a retirement plan. That's a big one, because unless you're 59 and a half years old, it's very difficult to get your money out of a retirement plan without paying big penalties. And the other
probably not a whole lot there right now, for sure.
Right. Well, actually, we were discussing that with somebody who said to me and did the math, and they're absolutely right. If you were in the market and you distribute it now, the amount of money that you're down, that if you left it there for the long term, that you'd be up. The amount of money that you're down far outweighs that you know, you'd rather pay the 10% penalty at the top rather than all the money that you lost. But it depends. Do you need the money right now? Okay. Yeah. And also, did you have your money in your retirement account in you know, in bonds and other less risky investments? So that's another of the good ones. And there's several others, and I know that we're running out of time, so I'm not going to go through them. But obviously, you can give us a call, PCO Bookkeepers. We can help you with them. If you need the information, if you're a client of ours, if you need the information to get to your PPP, we can get you that as well. Basically, during this whole time, we're here to help. I'd love to say that we can get new clients, and we'd love new clients, but right now, we're showing our value by being on top of this and in front of it. And I think that Coalmarch is probably doing the same, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And just a reminder for everyone on the call, you know, things that we talk about, resources that we run across, they're all available here on coalmarch.com/COVID-19. We'll continue to add stuff to that. Not to mention that, you know, both Dan and I are authors. I don't know about you, Dan, but I don't get asked for my autograph when I go to the grocery store because of the books, but certainly a lot of things that we talk about, especially on here, are in these books. And so if people want to go out and just check out those books and learn a little bit more about what we do, big picture, and kind of how we, you know, came about what we are doing, I think that will be very helpful. And then the last thing,
just a real quick one from our book is published by North Coast Media, which is the publisher of PMP Magazine and Landscape Management. All of the profits from that go to charity. You can read about it in the book or go to our website, PCOBookkeepers.com, and read about the charity. It's a charity that's near and dear to my family's heart. So.
For sure. And just also a reminder, next week we have right now scheduled our final episode, episode 4, where we're going to be wrapping up the kind of this COVID-19 series. And we'll do a poll afterwards to see if folks want to kind of keep this going, maybe even on a different kind of cadence, but we'll see how that all goes. And let's go to the next slide. And then obviously, just to finish this out, we're here. If anyone has any help or need anything, you can go to coalmarch.com or PCOBookkeepers.com. We'll be in touch. You can always contact me directly or Dan. And with that, I think we're going to call it a day. Dan, any final thoughts? I do want to thank Hank and Trent. You guys are awesome. I very much enjoyed hearing from you. It was such a great thing. I think a lot of our attendees got a lot from what you had to say as well. Dan, anything? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to also thank Marisa and Laura and Meg and everybody who helped put this together. We've really the response has been incredible. I'd love to think that we're really smart and we could put together a webinar with this many hundreds of people, or is it just that everybody's at home and needs something to do? But in any event, the success has been just incredible, and the amount of folks who have been on the line, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. And with that, hey, we're not doing any outtakes. So Dan, we're going to wait until it always
30
ends.
seconds. Everybody
30
waits
seconds.
30
Otherwise, I know people love, or they're all excited about the outtakes that we've done in the past. But with that, thank you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Easter to you. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.